Oh, we are live now. I was talking in the mic and I just completely. I was
Okay.
talking in the mic and I just completely. There we go. I was
Oh,
talking in the mic. Give me 1 second before this. There we go. I had to mute that stream. All right. So what's up, man? How you doing?
doing. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. So I guess let's start with a brief introduction about who you are and what you do, man. Because you do some cool stuff.
For sure, man. So my name is Vivek Patel. My real name is Vivek Patel. We just had a conversation about why that's a little difficult to pronounce.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, Trump just gave a speech in India, and actually pronounced my name wrong in the speech because
Really?
he was trying to mention some other guy who has my same name. Side comment. Anyway, so basically, my name is Vic Patel, and I actually went to Collins Hill with Dave, and yeah, I went to UGA after that, and majored in biology. I knew I wanted to get into some sort of healthcare business, and so a couple years later, exactly about 3.5 years later, we created a wellness holistic lifestyle brand, which focuses on the root cause of symptoms and problems. And so that's what I'm pushing today, and that's what I do. 20, 18 hours a day, and that's what I'm passionate about. So yeah, that's
Cool.
pretty much it.
So you
Yeah.
started this company. Oh, what's up, guys? Thank you all for joining in. What's up, guys? So you started this company and you focus more on the root causes of the symptoms and not just treating the symptoms, right?
Nope.
And so I think
Nope.
that's one of the major problems in today's healthcare. It's the treatment of the symptoms rather than the resolution of the cause of the symptoms themselves. And so I think that's amazing what you're doing. I don't think many people are doing that.
Yeah, we're some of the few people right now in Atlanta. There's a couple people in California that are trying to create a system around that, but in the South, especially, there's a huge need. So that's where we're trying to fill.
Right. So I know we talked once or twice beforehand when we were at the gym, just
Yeah.
crossing paths. So do you outsource doctors? Like, what exactly? How does this work?
So okay, so we have our the biggest value that we bring to the community is our technology. So we have a lot of diagnostic equipment that's built to diagnose the root cause. So for example, if you have back pain, for example, we can figure out the exact portions of your spine that back pain is coming from. And another example is if you have food allergies, we have testing and protocols that our physicians are trained on, that can like narrow down exactly what you're allergic to instead of like a broad range of things. So things like that. We have a lot of good technology, and we do sometimes outsource some of our clinical work to doctors overseas, but most of it is here in America.
Right.
And I mean, we have physical therapists, nutritionists, medical doctors, nurse practitioners, chiropractors. I mean, just everyone who is holistically minded can join our team,
Right.
and they're our protocols, and yeah, we help patients through that.
So one of our viewers asked, I'm assuming it's the iceberg kind of health, like you're focusing on
Yeah,
like the iceberg concept.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's your
you.
shirt. Oh, I didn't even know
Yep.
where he got it from.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's cool. So you're like I guess like the image depicts is like the part that people see and then the part that people don't see, the under the iceberg.
Exactly.
So that's really cool. So do you guys focus on natural remedies like let's talk like sleep aids. So instead of
Yeah.
focusing on, providing melatonin or something like that, do you focus on more the holistic side where you would maybe try to ask them to cut back on caffeine or give them a tea or something?
So,
Oh, thank you
so
guys
yeah,
for the subs.
in situations like that, we'll refer to other providers. Like in terms of sleep, we don't really deal as much with that. We're more with physical
Right.
symptoms. But in a situation like that, for example, we would focus on why the melatonin is low, not here's more melatonin, right?
Right, right, right,
Uh,
right.
so that's kind of the change in perspective that we like to offer. But we do not help with sleep problems though.
I got you. I got you. So, like you said, you focus more on the physical aspects.
Correct. Yeah. So pain, headaches. We can holistically treat like disc bulges, herniations.
How do you do that?
Um, uh, Different therapies. So we have decompression therapies. We have exercises and things like that. We just had a patient who was like ready to get surgery 2 or 3 days from the day he came to us, and he just did a 5K after like 3 or 4 weeks of treatment with us.
Damn, dude.
So we completely prevented that surgery.
So do you guys use things like chiropractors and acupuncture?
Yeah, so chiropractors, we do have chiropractors that work with us. We use physical therapists, but see, the thing is, every practitioner will try to say that they're gonna have the solution to everything, and the reality is, one practitioner, the way they're trained in America, they're specialized in things, and that's the exact opposite of a holistic practitioner, right? So,
Right.
so our doctors work together, right? So chiropractor will take notes.
You broke up just a bit there, Vic. I need to get my stream quality up. I need this love. Yeah. Hey, Vic, I don't know if you can hear me, but your stream or your side broke up just a little bit. I might have to find a new application because this happened one other time. Let's see. Hey, Vic, I'm going to end the call real quick, and then I'm going to try and get you back in, okay? Hopefully, resetting the call will work. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Join now. There we go. He's still in here. We got how's everybody's night going so far? Everybody doing so well? Looks like we're killing it on views, guys. Yeah, has left the meeting. Hopefully, let's do this. Return to home. Start join meeting. Join now. I'm sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties. Trying to get back in here. I like the mirror view. You guys should keep that. Yeah, no, I'm good. How's your night going so far? Doing pretty good. Yeah, no, I like this view better. So far, we've gotten a lot of good feedback. I'm going to do this so that way you guys don't see me double. Wait until he gets back in here. Send him another message. But yeah, he's doing some cool stuff. Focusing on more holistic approaches. Del, I know we've talked about this a little bit, especially with the way modern medicine kind of focuses on solving problems. They kind of just like to dope you up on medications. And so when he gets back in here, I really want to focus on the mental health aspect and how his company kind of accommodates that. Let me send him a text. Home here. Sent you a new meeting invite. All right. Okay, so we're still waiting on him. I like the double view. Yeah, there we go. Haha. Oh, cool. I can make some cool images like this. Just kind of waiting on that. Strickland, are you still here? Thank you, Jordan and Josh, for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Strickland. I really appreciate it. Strickland, you just started your new stream, man. How's that? Guys, if you don't know Strickland, he's a really good friend of mine. Drop a follow on his page. He plays some Apex a lot. Dude's actually kind of good at Apex. I'm staying the whole time, big boy. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm just trying to get Vic back on right now. Any luck? I just sent you a new. Okay. I don't think he read my Instagram one, so he sent me one on Facebook, so we're waiting on him to come back. Oh, what's up? Hey, thanks, Chase, for checking out the stream. We're just waiting on Vic to get back in here. maybe does anybody know a different software to use than Google Meets? Because Google Meets seems to put a lot of stress on other people's computers. Apex is a game, massive battle royale. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the yellow hearts. I appreciate every one of you guys. We're still just waiting on Vic to get in here. Hopefully he can make it. If not, we'll just continue the stream as is. No worries. We'll give him another 10 minutes because he had some cool stuff. Starting to stream different games, Apex, COD, Mad, and other random stuff. I want to eventually set up and follow in Dylan's path with a podcast. Strickland, we'll have to get you on here, man. Do you stream Sims? Strickland, we're going to get you on here and start doing more podcasts. Because you have a lot of political views we can discuss. I'd love to talk about those. I want to now. I'm super interested in streaming Sims or doing a podcast. I'm gonna do Duck Hunt. Del, you could do anything. I'm coming home this weekend. Got a free crib. Well, we could do it this way because I actually like this view better. So before, okay, we're here. We're here. Go. We're back. We're back.
You hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you.
Awesome. Had to move to my phone there for a second.
Yeah, you're fine. Actually, the quality's a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look good.
All right.
All
so
right,
where did we leave off?
We were talking about holistic healing and acupuncture, chiropractor. You guys utilize chiropractors and stuff like that?
Yep. So yeah, we all of our practitioners work together with each other, and although sometimes we have differing views based on the philosophy of the practitioner,
right?
We actually like that because that gives the patient the most whole approach, right?
The most so it's versatile approach.
Exactly. So that's really what we do in a nutshell.
Yeah, I try to take the more holistic approach myself.
Yep.
Mainly because I don't want to deal with surgeries. So for the longest time, I had lower back pain. I had really bad lower lumbar pain, and so it would get really bad if I was just hanging or if I'd like hang from a pull-up bar. That's where I'd feel it the most because I could feel like the discs kind of expanding a little bit.
Yep.
So when I would come off that, I would take a step, and I could not walk. I kid you not. I would fall, collapse to the ground. Like I couldn't do anything for at least 5 minutes. So I took it as though like my back muscles needed a little bit more training. So I started doing more deadlifts at the gym. I started doing like these good mornings. I started doing just more strength training exercises for my back muscles. And, sure enough, my back has gotten better, and I don't have as many of those problems anymore.
Yeah. Stability,
Yeah.
You're going to pinch nerves. You're going to cause dysfunction. And before you know, you're going to have pain. So yeah, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Most people would have numbed the pain, right?
Right.
With medication, opioids, whatever, but we try to advise against that.
Well, and see, that's why I like your guys' approach the best, because obviously with modern medicine, it's more of the dope you up kind of quick solution approach. It's not really focusing on, how do we actually accommodate this person's symptoms? Like, how do we resolve them? Most of it is just pain management and management of symptoms.
Exactly. You got it, man.
Yeah. So I kind of want to, someone in here, oh my gosh, my wife doesn't like it when I exercise too much because her boyfriend starts getting kind of jealous. Oh my goodness. Killing me. But does it do anything else? What do you mean? What do you mean, Strickland? So do you guys focus on more of the mental health side now? Because I know when we talked last and we kind of ran into each other, I think you were like starting to entertain that idea a little bit.
Yeah. So definitely, we have providers that we refer out to when we see so when we do what we call an iceberg evaluation, right? So when you come in, we evaluate your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, your chemical health, like how toxified you are, all that
Right.
stuff. And at the moment, see, my grand vision is, I want to have a huge facility where I can have, mental health specialists, I can have the medical specialists, I can have the natural paths, and I want them all to sit at a table and discuss the case one by one, right? That's really my big vision. But right now, as we're in the growth phase, we don't have that capacity. So we do
Right.
find we scope out in the community the right professionals based on their credentials, based on their reviews and things like that. So we do all that due diligence for you. And so let's say you did come to us with mental health issues, we would guide you in the right direction. But one day we will have that in house.
So I take it you guys don't have a lot of cases if you guys focus more like that. If it sounds like you guys put a lot of effort towards the individual themselves.
Yeah. So what do you mean by cases? Like,
So like so in the hospital setting, it's more of a you're in, you're out kind of scenario.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
no.
spend 15 minutes with the doctor and you get your medication and you're out, and they've already got a diagnosis and know how to treat you. So but it's
Yeah, an initial visit from a patient is anywhere from 30 to 40, sometimes an hour, right?
right.
And after that treatment, I mean, it varies. I mean, it depends on what your treatment is. If your treatment is like, physical therapy, it's like, 45 minutes to an hour session. If it's chiropractic, it's like, usually 5 to 10 minutes for an adjustment. If it's a visit with a nutritionist, it's like 30 minutes consult. It just depends. But it's very catered. It's not like, okay, everyone goes through this system and they all come out here. It's like everyone starts off in that iceberg evaluation room, but then, they get split up based on what they need. And I think that's really how you solve a problem, right? You can't just throw the same stuff at everybody, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So one of our viewers asked, how publicly accessible are these services?
Oh, very accessible. So we have 4 locations right now. I just opened my 4th location in Midtown. So we have the Lawrenceville area covered. We have one in Marietta. We have one in Forest Park, and then we have one in Midtown. And we're actually opening a 5th one in Norcross in the next month or two. So, so we're trying to spread throughout the Atlanta area.
No, this is just so cool just to hear you starting up this. You sound super passionate about it.
I love it.
Yeah. Dell says, "Yay, Norcross." Oh, that's awesome. But no, I really love your approach to the holistic. Have you gotten any critics?
Oh, tons. So, when we first started off, we were just, the holistic practitioners, and which are a cult of their own.
Yeah.
I don't like to be associated with any particular group. Whenever someone gets to the point where they say I can heal everything, that's when
you call BS.
That's when you call BS,
yeah.
right? So there are practitioners, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, we started off hiring people like that because I thought, we're gonna go against the whole mainstream medicine. So obviously, you got to get people who are against that. And I learned really quickly that was not the solution, right? You can't. One person cannot cure everything, and in fact, nobody can cure anything, right? Healing happens within you, right? And so we started off like that. So we had a lot of critics, like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and I listened. I don't get offended easily, right? If somebody says like you should do something else, I take it as, look, if I get my ego and I put it in the way of this, it's going to hurt the well-being of our patients. And so I listen to all our critics. We have tons of them, right? And through listening to all those critics and changing our system is how we've evolved to where we are today. But just like you said, even the mental health thing, like many people have brought up, you should have mental health in-house, right? And so, I just had 3 meetings before I went to India for 2 weeks with different practitioners on the systems of mental health. Like how does a patient get mental health treatment? And what are the protocols for that? and what are the standards of care and things like that. So I got to learn it myself before I can bring it in house. And that happened from, critics saying you should have it, within, if you want to call yourself a true holistic center. So things like that, we take it to heart. We like to, listen to everybody, but at the same point, we're creating a system, and at the end of the day, that we're always going to have people that don't like a portion of our practice, and sometimes that's okay.
Oh, there's always going to be haters, man.
Yeah.
So, exactly. But obviously one of our viewers looked up your reviews on Google, and you have 5 stars for each store. So you're doing something right.
We love that. Our patients love us, and our first location was the one in Lawrenceville, since I'm from Lawrenceville, and so
where are you guys located in Lawrenceville?
Right off of right behind the Brewsters on McHenry Church.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. So we're in that plaza. We're in that medical plaza.
So my wife asks, are you guys hiring nurses?
So we are actually looking for a nurse practitioner. We will hire nurses in the future, but right now, nurse practitioner, because we need them to do a little bit more at the moment.
Right. What about nursing informatics?
Nursing informatics, not the moment.
That's what she's getting her master's in. So
that's awesome. That's a huge field, though.
Yeah, it's a growing field. It's
a huge field. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, awesome. Like, yeah, you got a very nice website according to some of our viewers. Like, they're checking you out, man. they're fact checking right now.
Yeah, man, do it. Look over it.
Yeah, no, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, especially, I worked in the hospital. It's on the mental health side of things, being a behavioral health tech, and just seeing how physicians interacted with their patients was just so concerning, to say the least. Because they were. It was and these patients are psychiatric patients. The psychiatrist would come in for, I guarantee, not even more than 10 minutes and have maybe a minute conversation with each of the patients. Say, hey, how are you doing? Are your meds doing good? They would talk to the nurse. How's he doing? And they'd get out. And they'd make their assessment based off whether or not they're able to be released based off that 1 to 2 minute interaction. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even sound like you're actively trying to help this person get better.
I agree.
So that was my biggest concern. That's why I couldn't work at that hospital anymore, because I just, for me, my philosophy, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a part of that.
It takes a strong person to step away from that. Most people would just go along with it, but it's tough. I mean, that's 95% of healthcare today in America,
Right.
And then add on like outrageous prices, and it just doesn't make sense,
Well, that was what's crazy about my mom's last hospital visit, and I was just talking to my boss about this. She went to the hospital she was cooking me a dinner, and she had accidentally sliced part of her thumb. Okay, yeah, horrible, and it looked nasty. So she sliced part of her thumb, and when we went to the emergency room, I mean, we were maybe back there for 10, 15 minutes. The doctor came in, said 1 or 2 words, walked out. They yanked off part of the skin that was just hanging there, cleaned it off, and sent her home. I mean, her bill was close to a couple $1,000s just for that. Yep. I was like, what the fuck? What did you guys do?
What did you do, right?
Yeah, did nothing.
Yeah.
That was rough.
I mean, it's expensive nowadays because of the payers, right? The insurance companies, and it just the competition between drug companies, insurance companies, and all that. It makes it harder for someone who would be like a cash patient to afford care, right? And that's why at our clinic, we're actually out of network with most insurances. We do accept some. We accept Blue Cross Blue Shield and Ambetter. But all the other insurances, if an insurance company messages our doctors and tries to dictate care, so you'd be surprised. Insurance companies, they're not doctors. These are adjusters. They're people who are trained to, work with numbers. And so a lot of these companies will send letters to our doctors saying, they can't treat a certain way, or they can't do a certain therapy because they think it doesn't make sense. But through our actual reasoning, since we've actually met the patient, we've done testing on the patient, you know, we know what they need. And so we literally just write them a letter, say we want out of network. We don't care if your patients don't come to us. We don't want to see your patients, you know?
Right.
And that's our way of sending a message. You know, we have 4 clinics. When 4 clinics do that, that's our way of sending a message to people saying, look, there's a whole different way that healthcare needs to be done. And if the big bullies in the market, which are the insurance companies who run healthcare, aren't going to play along, then we're just gonna take the L and get out of them. So
right.
that's what we've done with a lot of people. So
well, that's awesome. I mean, what are your thoughts? It sounds like you have some specific thoughts on universal healthcare then.
I do. I haven't really, you know, looked too much into it, but I do like the Medicare for all
right.
Plan. Now, as a businessman, it would actually hurt our profits, right? But I'm talking what is best for America. I do see that as a benefit. Here's the thing, like, you know, America right now has the best healthcare system, and you know, everything has a positive and a negative, right?
Right.
The positive having an expensive healthcare system is there's a lot of money floating around, right? Which means a lot of money can go to people, and you know, we can research like next level solutions and you know, et cetera, et cetera. But the negative is it's expensive and people can't afford it, right? So it's like if you're really, really rich, like, yeah, America it's the best place for you to, you know, be sick, right? But my whole thing is, why not just not get sick, right? If we had a proper Medicare for all system that covered proper doctor visits, right? A lot of people, you know, we see this a lot. People wait. Like, when you feel pain, when you feel some sort of issue, you need to get seen by a doctor. I just had an uncle that passed away, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy never went to the doctor. He was 52 years old. He died of a heart attack, right? If he had just gone for regular visits, the guy would have understood that he had high cholesterol. He would have understood that he had high BP,
right?
Potential blockage, right? People don't do that because sometimes they think like, oh, I don't want to pay a copay, or oh, I haven't met my deductible, or I haven't done this. Those stupid little small things stop people from going in.
Yeah, I'm guilty
of
that.
That caused them from getting sicker and sicker and sicker. People don't realize. People think like, oh, it's just gonna go away, right? It never goes away. And sometimes even if the pain goes away, doesn't mean the problem is gone. Right? Pain is just a symptom, right? And so I think that if people didn't have that fear, right, in Medicare for all, people would probably have no copays, if not very little copays, or no deductibles. If they could have that kind of system where, oh, I have pain, let me go to a doctor, no barrier to entry, so many less people would get sick. Therefore, we wouldn't need these advanced surgeries and crazy stuff, because less people would be avoiding that, you know? So that's why I do support that in certain cases. It's complicated, though. I think there needs to be just a totally new grassroots Medicare system. You know, right now, Medicare for all, we're trying to copy other countries, but I think America needs a custom fit solution, you know?
Right.
But,
and yeah. I'm more or less the same way. I'm on your boat. Like, I agree that there are benefits to having, you know, an expensive Medicare system or an expensive healthcare system, obviously, because you have quality. Yeah. Like you said, America has the best quality of healthcare that's out there. But again, that's thinking from the business perspective.
Correct.
So, I mean, I that's why I really appreciate your approach, being holistic. Yeah. So you're trying to solve the actual symptoms. You're trying to get the patients in and trying to get them out. You're not trying to keep them in and coming back for more repetitive behavior.
Correct.
I'm the same way as your uncle, man. I'm notorious for not going to the hospital thinking it'll just go away.
You have to go, man. You have to go.
I know. When I get sick, it's bad. I'll go to the when I get sick or feel sick, I'll go to the gym because I'm like, all right, well, I need to I need to work this out of my metabolism, and I need to boost my metabolism a little bit and just kind of push it out. So, I mean, it's kind of nice to hear every once in a while.
And the thing is, like, you know, right now, let's say you felt sick, right? Or actually not sick. Let's say you felt pain, right? Most people's normal response is, oh, I'm going to go see my primary care, or I'm going to go see, you know, my main doctor, right? Right. But But a lot of times those doctors are not trained in what really is causing that. You know, go to your primary care. Test this out if you want. Tell them, just lie if you have to. Say you have like, I don't know, back pain, right? They're going to give you one of two things. They're going to say either rest, or they're going to say, here's some, you know, you'll go take some over the counter pain medicines, or if you say it's severe enough, they'll give you some prescriptions. That's literally the only solution. All three of which are not solving any problem, right? And that's why we created Iceberg Health. Is, you know, when someone has that solution, when someone has that problem, I want it to be second nature. Like, oh, I have pain. I'm gonna go get my iceberg checked. That's it, right? I want to go to an Iceberg Health location. I want to get my iceberg checked. And how much is it gonna cost? It's $50. And on a good month, we do specials. It's $25, right? You go in for sometimes less than the cost of a copay. You can get your entire body checked.
Damn,
that's
really cheap.
Pain, it's really cheap. Our goal is to provide affordable preventative healthcare. That's our mission. It's providing affordable preventative healthcare. So when someone thinks, oh, I got pain, I got a cough, I got this, I got that, I got to get my iceberg checked. That should be the first thing. And then if the iceberg practitioner says, oh, you should probably go see your primary care. Oh, you should probably go to the emergency room, or, oh, you should probably go here. That should be the way it gets dispersed, right? Instead of just going into like a last minute solution, first. That doesn't make sense.
So is it $50 for every visit?
No, so it's actually cheaper. It's actually cheaper for visits.
Okay.
$50 is only your evaluation, because the doctor will spend more time with you depending on what you need, right? You'll never be rushed, right? If we're evaluating you, we're doing testing on you, we're doing orthopedic, neurological testing on you. That's what costs $50, and that's purely for the doctor's time.
Right.
And then after that, if the doctor recommends treatment with us, there's charges for that. If the doctor recommends to go to another provider, then you go to that provider. So, yeah.
Wow, that's insanely cheap.
Yeah.
So so if I wanted to come to Iceberg Health, do I pay like a monthly fee? Do I just pay?
So yeah, we have monthly subscriptions. So for example, we started off as just chiropractic.
Right.
And so, for example, with just our chiropractic plans, if you want to do like 2 adjustments a month, it's like $70. So it's like $35 a visit. The average for adjustments in Lawrenceville, let's say, right? If I've actually secretly been as a secret shopper to all of our competition, in the beginning I had to, and so the average is like $50. And so we cut that down. And, people don't understand this. Doctors charge money, not because they feel like, oh, I'm just going to charge $50 and, I'm going to make a lot of money. They charge money because we have costs. We have, insurances, we have marketing, we have, it's a business at the end of the day,
Right.
And so we have a lot of cost. And the way I am able to charge less is because, we've actually developed, novel software to take over menial work that we used to hire people for. And so now software does all that. And so because of that, I invested over $200,000 in software that could make my services cheaper. So now I don't have to hire, let's say, a person to do file transfers. Right now I can do that through my software. And so by doing things like that and investing in things like that, now I can charge $35. Whereas a regular doctor, if they charge $35, they would go out of business. Right.
Right.
So that's why I've been able to do that.
No, this is awesome. Like shit, I'm going to have to come see you.
For sure,
I need to come get an adjustment.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to come, like, because my biggest problem is I have, like I said, back pain. And I feel like I've been to a chiropractor and they've told me my left leg is longer than my right leg. So I kind of need to get adjusted. I wasn't a big fan of the chiropractor that I was going to, mainly because they didn't actually use chiropractic treatments. Like they would use, so she used a table and it was more like more or less of this.
Okay. So let me tell you.
Go for it.
Let me tell you how that works. So, for the people who are listening, beware of situations like that, especially with like physical therapists and chiropractors, right? So what they'll do is, see, according to the billing code, right? An adjustment is this, right? So as long as I do this, just apply pressure in a direction, and I achieve some sort of movement, right? I can adjust. I just adjusted myself, right? Doesn't mean I adjusted what needed to be adjusted, right? Because adjustments are very specific. But as long as something is applied pressure on in a specific way, that's an adjustment. They don't have to manually adjust you. So technically, they're legally speaking, they're not doing anything wrong. But are they actually fixing anything by doing that? No. They're just milking the system.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was getting much benefit out of it.
Exactly. So you gotta be careful about people like that. They follow the insurance code very literally, and it's a money machine at the end of the day for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to this person because I had recommendations from people, and they were saying, she does a really good job. She doesn't actually like pull you or yank you, and I was already skeptical about chiropractors in the beginning, so I took a cautionary approach, but when I go there, some things just don't. I mean, I don't feel like it works. I don't feel like it works, to say the least.
Yeah, you can feel the vibe. Yeah.
She does this one thing where she like holds your hand up, and like you're supposed to like resist her from pushing you down.
Got you. Okay.
And like at times it's like she pushes you down with some force, but then other times she doesn't push you down at all. And she's like, "Oh, well, that's the area that's messed up." But I'm like, you didn't even use force on my hand that time. Like you used it on the other time.
That is muscle testing, and so that's like orthopedic. That's like orthopedic neurological testing, right? So a well-trained doctor can actually tell what parts of your body are out of alignment through testing. Like that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like
okay.
They can kind of figure out.
Because I thought it was all just bullshit.
I know it can feel like that, but once again, the doctor has to be well trained, right?
Right.
I've seen people, I've interviewed. I have 5 doctors that work for me that are chiropractors, but I've interviewed probably 100 doctors, and I've seen the fakers, and I've seen the people who actually know what they're doing, and it's an art. Not everybody can do it properly. Just because they have a degree doesn't mean they're good at it. So it takes a lot of
say it louder for the people in the back. No, for real, man. For real, people just think that since you got a degree, you can do it.
Exactly.
And it's like, no. I've been to some good doctors, and I've been to some shitty doctors. Some that care and some that don't. And when you go there, which ones care and which ones don't.
Exactly. We have a probationary period for our doctors. Whenever a new doctor starts, they have 2 weeks, and we actually interview the patients that they saw in those 2 weeks. And if we see anything that's like a red flag, we literally terminate them immediately. And we already have a backup ready for them. So we're very specific with that. The Iceberg brand, we want to build a brand of trust. So when you go to an Iceberg clinic, you're never going to get one of those doctors. So that's kind of our goal. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
One of our viewers asks, what are your thoughts of Georgia Sport South on McKendree?
Georgia Sport and Spine? Georgia Sports South?
Is that what you mean, Strickland? Georgia Sports and Spine?
I know is that an ortho?
I got no clue.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of them.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, Georgia Sports. I know a couple of good ones. But once again, these are just chiropractic offices, right? They're not really holistic. They don't incorporate like physical therapists. They don't incorporate like nutritionists and medical doctors because, you got to understand there's sometimes a need, right? For all of those. So
currently you guys don't utilize any psychologists or psychiatrists or?
We don't at the moment, primarily because of spacing, right? We built our model to be in a space that's about 2,000 square feet. And right now the current structure of our practices take over most of that square footage, and that's the reason. It's purely because of space. If I had an extra room for a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever, I would definitely invest in that, but I don't have that.
The thing is, and the reason why I asked that is because I know a lot of holistic approaches start with the brain. They start with that aspect, and if you have a positive well-being, then you can kind of align the rest with it.
Correct.
So I didn't know. Are you looking at psychologists in the near future? Like, what are your outlooks on that? Do you think that's actually starting with the brain is the way to go?
Yeah. So I'm always thinking 10 years ahead, right?
Right, right, right.
What is going to be necessary, right? So I'm realizing like retail space on the business aspect, my goal is always to make it as affordable as possible, right?
Right, right.
I could go rent out a huge, a huge building, but then I'm going to have to raise my prices because I'm going to have more bills to pay, right? And so I want to try to get it done in a right amount of space. So what I've been looking into recently is telemedicine, right? So I want to have I'm working on a portal, a patient portal that goes with our software, where patients can actually get access to these providers on their phone, and see them that way and get some therapy that way. But right now, you're right. I mean, the people that do come in that have mental issues that are causing their pain, we refer them out directly, and then we have a relationship where they'll send them back when they're ready for what we can offer them. So,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
but we do follow that. You're right. Mental health does come first. But yeah, we're looking into that. It's a very tough situation.
Well, I like the approach with telehealth because it seems as though like that's the new modern way to go, is focusing on, getting this. Not only does it get numbers up, but it also allows for, like you said, that reduced amount of space, because you can just have people call in to this call center.
And reach, you can help people
all over the country,
everywhere,
right?
All over the country with that, So, yeah, we're looking into that.
Wow. Yeah. Strickland says Dr. Livegood, I guess at Georgia Sports South.
Dr. Livegood.
Living good.
Oh,
he works a lot with Gwinnett High School.
Oh man, that's so funny. So Dr. Livegood is an orthopedic. And I actually know his physician's assistant. His name is Akash or something like that. He's Dr. Livegood's physician's assistant is one of our doctor's nephews. It's funny that you mentioned that. He's good though. He's really good. He's very, very good. They specialize in sports, and people come like from all over. Athletes come up from all over to see him. But he's on the orthopedic side. So, like I said, when somebody who's trained, if you take a chef who's trained in Chinese cuisine, and you give him noodles, he's probably going to make something closer to ramen than spaghetti, right? So it's just they're going to do what they're trained to do. So if you go to Dr. Livegood, he will do what he does to the best degree, and I've heard a lot of great things about him. And here's the thing, like, let's say you go in with back pain and Dr. Livegood finds a herniation. Dr. Livegood's trained to treat that herniation with medication and maybe a surgery or something like that, right? And he's going to do a great job, and the surgery is going to go well, and you're going to feel great, right? But on the same aspect, you didn't even consider the fact that you might have not even needed that surgery in the first place. And you could have completely done that holistically and not put the extra stress on your liver, not put the extra stress of medications on your body. You see what I mean?
Right.
So even though he's a good doctor in what he does, doesn't mean that approach is necessarily the right way to take.
I agree.
Right? So it just depends.
So what do you? Now I gotta ask this, since you guys use holistic approaches. What are you guys' thoughts on using medical marijuana to treat things, and using the more holistic approach like CBD? What are your thoughts on those?
So CBD's. So here's the thing. So I like it better than opioids.
Right.
Okay. 100%.
Right.
Right. So if you're on opioids and you're in a lot of pain, I definitely like it. Now, remember, I'm not a doctor. Okay, just to be completely clear, I'm purely on the business side, so I'm not giving any medical advice in any way. But this is just my personal opinion. I like it better in that case. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, even if it's a natural suppressant or a synthetic suppressant, they're still both suppressants, right?
Right.
If you're dealing with pain, you need to figure out why that pain is there, and you need to get rid of the root cause of that pain. Now, there are people who have chronic pain that lasts forever, and if they need something to cope, I totally support medical marijuana, CBD. They are natural. The body can recognize them. The body can filter them and process them more efficiently than they can do opioids.
Right.
But but do I think it's necessary for that to be a long-term solution? No, we have at our clinics treated people with chronic pain, and we've rid them of their chronic pain. So I don't see why someone with chronic pain should just settle for medical marijuana and use that for the rest of their life when they could fix themselves, right?
You know, I'm in total agreement with you. I think there's been this kind of wave of, you know, medical marijuana and people thinking that it's like the end all be all cure for pain and everything. And I'm not on board with that yet.
Yeah.
And I take more of your approach. Why would you want to just, you know, suppress the symptoms when you could actually solve it or figure it out? And
Exactly.
I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah, but if someone's like in super pain and like in the midst of their treatment,
right, and they need something to kind of suppress it down a little bit,
correct,
just to manage
it's
it.
better than taking an opioid,
correct,
and getting addicted, right?
Right. I mean, obviously there are better solutions than the opioids that big pharma kind of promotes.
Yep.
So what is your opinions on big pharma then?
It's a business, right?
Right.
It's a business, and you know, many years ago, you know, we were dying and we needed drugs, and drugs saved us, right? And I'm not
well said.
I'm not an anti-drug guy. You know, drugs are there for a reason. They save people in situations of dire need. You know, but when you run it like a business, I think pharmaceuticals should be run by a collective, you know, group of people, like a trust or something like that, because you're playing with people's lives, you know.
Right.
When you let a corporation run a pharmaceutical company, I mean, I run a business. I could easily just screw people over and make a lot of money, right? I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, but I could easily do that. Some of these pharmaceutical companies, I mean, they're playing like drugs are candy, you know. They're just producing these things, getting people addicted, just produce. And I can't see how a big pharmaceutical empire can ever support the elimination of a drug, you know, or I'm sorry, the elimination of a disease. Diseases are their money. If as a business, if you're a restaurant business, and you know, would you ever invest in the elimination of people getting hungry? Like, would you invest in a pill that just made people not be hungry and not crave food?
No. Yeah, right?
I
mean, completely.
You wouldn't do that. That would just be like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
The dumbest move you can make.
Why would Taco Bell give you an appetite suppressant before you walked in? You would buy less. It's just stupid. So when pharmaceutical companies act like they're, you know, the biggest, nicest people in the world by donating to all these research groups, it's all fake. I don't believe in any of that. You know, it's a business at the end of the day, and it's evil. It's evil right now. The way it's being run. Drugs are good. Drugs are necessary, but the way it's being run right now, I don't like it.
Right. We have a viewer that says, I've got a question. What would you say to someone who thinks they want to become a doctor, but the fact that med school is so expensive scares them away since there aren't any positive, that would be that they would want to be a doctor?
So you're asking the right guy. I went to UGA. I was pre-med. I took the MCAT. I got into med school. I decided last minute that I wasn't going to go. And I actually had a full ride to these schools. So money actually wasn't even a cost or an option or a barrier, right? For me. And so I went with not being a doctor because I looked at what I would have done as a doctor. And if that would have made me happy, right? So what I was gonna do is, you know, I'm Indian, right? So everyone's like, you got to be a cardiovascular surgeon. That's just like that's your path in life, right? And so I looked at it and I said, you know, I want to prevent these problems. I don't want to wait. I don't want to deal with people who have already kind of messed up, right? I want to prevent these problems. And I feel I can help more people. I can have a better impact on the world. Most people want to become a doctor to help people, right? I think you can help more people through this. And that's just me speaking, right? My skills are business. My skills are, you know, putting people together and forming a team and having that team produce value. Like that's one of my skills, right? And so for me, doctor wasn't the right move. But if you're like really passionate about helping people in a late stage, or you really believe that what you will be doing as a doctor is actually going to help people, then do it. Money's not an option. Look, never let money ever stop you from anything. If I had thought that, money is going to get in the way of me opening up a clinic, I would have never had anything right now, right? I went into extreme debt. Like I used to tutor kids to just pay our clinic bill when we first started, and money is never an option, especially in education. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be something that takes a lot of money to do it. Take a loan. It doesn't matter, right? The money will come afterwards. If you're good at what you do and you're passionate, you will make so much money in the future. And that will be not even a problem in your eyes.
Well, I think that depends on what the person wants to do. So like since we're talking about these high income fields like med school or something like that, I mean, you could kind of easily pay that back. But I think there's been kind of pushback on going to further school or colleges.
I think the pushback is because of what the financial return is after. You're not, doctors used to get paid way more, right?
Well, I'm not talking about specifically doctors. I'm talking about like art majors, for example, something like that.
That's true. Well, you don't really, in a case of art major, you don't really need school to,
I agree.
Necessarily, increase your skill. You can do it in other ways, but as in other skilled fields, you do.
Well, yeah, and I agree. I think more skilled fields, I mean, people should pursue college or something like that. But, in terms of the majors that, like art majors or something like that, I don't really think you need to go to school for that. But there's been a lot of pushback that I've seen, especially on social media, about how college isn't the choice anymore. Like, it's not the end-all, be-all, or... it's not like the one way to go.
I agree. Like I said, I had the Gates Millennium Scholarship, right? That covered me till like it covered a master's degree, a PhD. It covered $1 million worth of college tuition, and I literally gave it back. I wrote them a letter saying I will never use this scholarship, and it was because I just didn't believe in that. Like, I didn't want to spend I knew my time. I knew what I wanted to do. I want to help a lot of people heal naturally. And I knew that doing all of that would not let me do that. So I let it all go.
That's a scary decision to make. If I was you, I would have been terrified. Like, I would have gotten that scholarship and been like, all right, this is dope. Like, I just got $1 million scholarship to pay for anything I want to do now. But to be in your shoes, like, I mean, I guess you got to be kind of risky, risk taking to be an entrepreneur, and you got that spirit, man. You got that spirit.
I love risk.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, it's paid off.
Fun. Yeah, risk is fun. I love risk. So you got to be calculated, though.
Calculated risk. That's the important part. That's where people kind of get wrong. People just kind of take the risk and don't calculate the repercussions until later.
Yep.
But we're approaching at about an hour, man.
Awesome, man. That was a good conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate, you answering some questions for our viewers. So your company again is called Iceberg Health.
Yep.
So, and if we want to just show up, do we just say ask for you? Do we?
Well, I'll do this. So if you mention your podcast, I will give everybody. Let's see, give a free visit. So we'll give you a free X-rays, free exam.
No way.
And let's see. Yeah, we'll do free X-rays and a free exam. So
all right. Well, I'm about to post this on YouTube and Instagram. So
mention the podcast. You get free X-rays, free exam, and that'll give you a full idea into what your body is going through right now. So any sort of symptoms that you have, our doctors will help you find the root cause of that. And then after that, based on what their recommendation is or based on what you want to do, you can decide. So
hell yeah, dude. Well, thank you. I appreciate you extending that out to all of our viewers. Yeah, Dylan, you trying to go this weekend? Hell yeah, I am. I'm trying to go immediately, man. So I guess I'll just be in touch with you then. Actually, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast now.
Okay.
But I'm going to keep you on for just a minute.
Okay.
But thank you, everybody, for checking us out. Remember, if you guys want to go visit Iceberg Health, make sure you mention DayDreams Podcast. Really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I love each and every one of you. Thank you, guys. See you guys later.